My Power 9 was stolen, specifically Time Twister. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about stolen Power 9. Now, some of you may know that Time Twister has a very special place in my heart. If you watched my video, my $30,000 deck, it talks about the deck I had way back in the day where I played with 4 Time Twisters and just the way that whole deck operated and all the craziness. It's actually a pretty funny video if you go back and look at the crazy stuff that I was playing back in 1994. So, this is another time travel style video. We are not dealing with fresh wounds of my Power 9 being stolen right now, thankfully, because that would be a lot more of a hit than it was back then. So apparently, it had been a while actually since I thought about this, but I was cruising through the MTG Reddit, which has some really unpleasant people on it who just, no matter what's going on, want to be complete knobs. But that's besides the point. I saw a post where someone was talking about, my first Planeswalker was stolen, and I need to vent about it. And it sent my mind spiraling back to the old school days where I actually had a fair number of cards stolen from me. What happened was there was a group of people who were supposed to be my friends who we played Magic with, who, and it's not my entire play group when I started, mind you. Some of them were cheaters, some of them were thieves. I dealt with all the right kind of people. And also, just as a note, we were kids at the time too, right? We're like 15, 16 years old, so you don't have the best set of morals apparently at that time. So I was getting robbed blind by people. It's not just the Time Twist that I lost. I lost a whole bunch of cards. There was a group of 3 or 4 guys who were all friends. Now these were the kids who went out shoplifting and had kind of like troubled home lives and all this stuff. But whatever, I had a wide range of friends. And admittedly, truthfully, when I was young, there wasn't that much exciting happening in my life. And hanging out with these guys sometimes led to exciting scenarios. Sometimes it led to me being robbed blind, apparently, without even realizing it. They would sit there and they would go and position themselves on the couch with my trade binders or things like that, and they'd be looking through my cards, but they would be dumping a bunch of cards into their lap. It took me forever to catch on that this was happening. I just walked over the one time and looked down, and I was just like, what are you doing? And they had all been doing this to me for a considerable amount of time before I finally wised up. I was too trusting as a youth. So as I said, my Power 9 went missing. Basically what happened was I was going through my binder and all of a sudden I get to the page where there's supposed to be a Time Twister and it's just poof, gone into the wind. Now this was a special Time Twister that had and by special I mean I could just note it out, not that like it was actually better than other Time Twisters. In fact, one of the corners was so bent that it was almost falling off. The only thing that I've seen worse than that was a mock sapphire that was put in somebody's bicycle spokes. When you guys were, I don't know like how old you are, I don't know if you guys did this when you were kids, but we used to take cards with clothespins and you put them into your bike spokes, and it makes your bike sound like a motorcycle. Rum, 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 rum. You know what I'm talking about? So there was a Mox Pearl that had gone through that process, and if you held the top part of it, the rest of it would just bend down. You could just kind of flap it, and it was like one flap away from complete destruction. So the upper corner of my Time Twister was like that, just obliterated, like a dog-eared book, like where you got the pages folded. So it was very identifiable. But either way, that Time Twister was just poof, missing. It was just missing, along with a bunch of other cards from my binder, and I was absolutely positive that it was the same guys who had been stealing from me, because obviously you have cards go missing. Who's stolen it? The people who have been stealing from you. But the craziest thing it turned out to be, and this is funny too, because I remember going to the local game store and I was so angry, right? I mean, first of all, I was much smaller than these other guys, and I was not a confrontational kind of like, I'll fight you for anything. Like, I was a really small, and like not exact. I would never call myself passive, because I definitely wasn't passive, but I wasn't big and I wasn't a fighter. I was a small little guy, and so I was like angrily griping about this to the store owner, because I was genuinely, obviously very unhappy, and I was talking about these guys, how these guys had stolen from me, and the store owner was like, look, first of all, he's like, if you didn't see them do it, you don't know for sure that they did it, and you need to bear in mind that sometimes you will blame people for things that they haven't done. Trust me, I've done it myself. The store owner gave me a lot of good advice over the years. So he told me, you know what, just calm down about this. It's all good. Here, you know what did you end up getting stolen from you? And he replaced most of the cards. He couldn't replace the Time Twister because of the rarity of it. He didn't have any in the store or anything like that. But he did replace other things that I was missing, like Original Legends, Sylvan Libraries, and some other cards. The Sylvan Libraries are the ones that I remember the most, because those were like the ones that really just bothered me the most. A bunch of the other cards I couldn't even tell, because what the person had done is they had gone through my binder and they had just pulled out extra copies of most cards. In fact, if the Time Twister hadn't been taken, I wouldn't have even known what was going on. So it turns out later on, someone comes to me and says, hey, I saw your Time Twister. I saw it when I was at school, but me and this guy were like in different grades. He was younger than me. So he was going to like junior high while I was in high school. And I was like, wait, why, how would it possibly end up there? And then I put it all together. It was actually my sister. My sister had gone through my binder, stolen all these cards from me, and she sold my Time Twister and Original Sylvan Libraries and all that to a kid at school for $5. $5. I lost my mind. I went and I told my parents about it. Obviously, there was fallout from that, because we weren't living like the little hooligan life. So my parents were like, order will be instilled. So they went ahead and grounded her, and also went, you're going to have to pay back the value of all these cards with your allowance. Not the $5 that you got, the actual value of the cards. And Magic cards, I think she stole probably at least $100 worth of stuff, not even including the Time Twister. Now, lucky enough for her, what happened was, when I heard that the Time Twister was going around at her school, I may not be big compared to high school kids, but compared to junior high kids, it's kind of a little, I used a little bit of an intimidation factor. I never would have followed through with it because it wasn't my style, but I made it sound like whoever had my Time Twister was going to be in a world of hurt if I did not get my Time Twister back. So she came back to me, and the kid had already heard about this. So basically what happened was, the kid came up to my sister, gave her back the Time Twister. She's coming home from school, and she's like, hey, this kid came up to me at school and was like, I have your brother's Time Twister. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, I know what's going on. I know what you did. And mom and dad want to talk to you. You're in trouble, kind of thing. You know, a little bit of like rubbing it in, because it's like, you screwed me over. And admittedly, I was wrong to think of the people who had stolen from me as thieves for that. But they had stolen from me anyways, man. All kinds of bad stuff happened to me back then. I remember I got a box of Fallen Empires where somebody had scanned all the packs. Now, admittedly, it is Fallen Empires. So, whoop-de-doo, it's not that big a set, but it's really just that diminishment of faith. And at the time, it was still exciting to get a box of Fallen Empires and to get all those cards, because I liked Thalids and all that. We didn't look at the game the same way through like, every card must be amazing. So, that was another poor experience. But either way, that's an aside. My sister ended up getting her punishment. Overall, I think I came out ahead, because she had to pay me back for the cards, and the store owner had given me some cards. So I went back to the store owner and was like, do you want the cards back? He's like, nah, don't worry about it, kind of thing. So I actually kind of ended up ahead from that scenario. But from the other guys who had been robbing me blind, I literally have no concept of how many cards I had stolen from me over the years. Not over the years, I shouldn't say over the years. Over that period of time, it was probably a period of time, maybe like 3 or 4 months, where they had unchecked ability to just kind of rob me without me noticing, because I would just let them go. I'm a pretty trusting guy. I'm still that way mostly, but if somebody gives me any kind of vibe at all that they might be even slightly untrustworthy, then I'm like, no. I am not letting you go off with my cards. You can look through them, but you stay here. But overall, I'm pretty chill. I don't assume people are thieves unless they give me a reason to think that they're a thief. So that's my Power 9 got stolen story. Just kind of popped into my head, and I thought it would be a fun story for a Sunday afternoon. So let me know what you guys think. Do you have any terrible theft stories of your own? And we'll go ahead and check in with the sixth color of magic.
Together, we're the sixth color of magic.
Gotta say, stories like that make me feel kinda old. I'm getting up there in years, boys. Now, let's roll the golden scroll. The people who helped this old man through Patreon or through channel memberships, thanks for your support. You guys are awesome, and I shall see you all tomorrow.